Hey everybody, Jake here with Keller Williams Realty Productivity Coach. Let me ask you a quick question. So, since when did the basic laws and principles of success stop applying to us? Since when do we succeed alone, without the help of anybody else? Since when does that happen? And especially if you're a parent, since when is it okay not to role model the behavior that we expect of our children, and we just pretend like it's okay that it doesn't apply to us because we're adults now? So what I'm getting at is I get asked quite a bit, why should I have a coach? Or what's a real estate coach going to do for me? And then they'll even ask, well, I can't afford it. And I would, of course, argue you can't afford not to have a real estate coach. And so I'm a baseball guy, and I speak a lot in analogies and examples. So what I'm about to share can be applied to anything with success, skill set building, and especially having a coach in any realm of anything you do, whether it's piano lessons even. So I look at this and I'm thinking to myself, all right, what's the major difference between somebody who's playing Little League and somebody in the major leagues? There really is not much difference because the fundamentals of the game do not change. How you hold a baseball, how you grip a bat, how you field a ground ball properly, none of that changes from Little League all the way to the major leagues. Those people you see on TV making millions of dollars. The one and primary thing that changes, of course, is the game speeds up. But the blocking and tackling, the fundamentals of the game do not change. Okay, so how does that apply to real estate? Well, guess what? It does in a lot of ways, because if you're closing 16 units a year, the same fundamentals, the same mastery it took to get to that point is going to be the same path and mastery it's going to take to double, triple, quadruple your business and do 32 closings a year, let's say. The only difference is that the game speeds up. The fundamentals of the game do not change. And so when people ask me questions about coaching or want to give some pushback on it, I just kind of sit here and chuckle because would it be okay if you told your son or your daughter that they should just go from first grade to fourth grade because, what are they really going to learn anyways? They can figure it out on their own. Or if their PE teacher shows up to class and it's okay that they just roll out the balls every session, every class rather, and that's what you've accepted that as average and mediocrity for your child. I don't think so. So why are you telling yourself that same story that it's okay? It's okay that all of a sudden now that you're in real estate, for many of you, and you're an entrepreneur, that you're going to go at this alone and you don't need the help of somebody who's been there and done that before, or can help you master the fundamentals of this game so you can speed up and achieve more success instead of just figuring it out on your own. It's no different also than that kid in Little League. Okay, we always have that. Usually it's the biggest kid in Little League. He's the biggest, he's the strongest, he throws the hardest, he hits the farthest, and he's the one in the limelight. Well, guess what? Oftentimes that same kid is the one that you never hear about by the time they get to high school or even college, because he was not forced to work on the fundamentals of the game. He had it easy. He took it for granted. He did not have to go get private lessons or show up to practice on time. While the other kids, who may be smaller and just hadn't matured enough yet, had to focus on the fundamentals. And they're the ones getting the college scholarships. Or maybe they're the ones you see on TV right now because they had to work their tail off. All right? Hard work will beat talent when talent doesn't work hard. Right? And so those kind of examples, I mean, you can draw analogy after analogy from this, but the reality is the same laws of success should apply to us that we expect of others. And just because now you're in real estate, you want to give it a go on your own, I'm not sure that's the best advice that you should give yourself, just like you probably would not give that advice to your children. All right? A coach's job is to focus on the fundamentals, yes. It's the boring, it's the unsexy stuff, it's the repetition, it's the accountability, which I would argue many of us shy away from, which is where we tell ourselves this hallucinating story that we don't need a coach, when in reality we just don't want the accountability associated with having a coach. But anyways, my point here being, when it comes down to the money, when people say, well, I can't afford a coach right now, and I say, well, you can't afford not to have a coach. The reality of that statement, to me, putting it back into the relatability for a real estate agent, is very simple. Have you ever been on a listing appointment with a for sale by owner, or maybe just a listing appointment in general, and that potential client is beating you up about commission rates? Maybe you're saying, hey, for my services, I'm going to list your home at 6%. And they want to beat you up over the commission rate because they say, no, we'll do it with you if you list our home at 4%. If you've ever been in that situation, it kind of eats at you inside, right? And ask yourself, why? Why? It's because you know the value you bring to the table. You don't get paid by the hour. You get paid in proportion to the value that you have and can provide that person. And it eats at you, and hopefully you stand your ground and say, no, I'm worth every bit of the 6%. Well, in many cases, what that for sale by owner, what that potential listing client is really saying is two things. Number one, you have not demonstrated your value enough for them not to consider price as the determining factor. And number two, really, truly what they're saying is they just want to net the most amount of money. So with you, when you're considering having a real estate coach or not, if you're asking yourself some of these questions, probably you sound like a FSBO right now. The very person or persons that sometimes when they want to beat us up about commission prices annoys you. So are you being that person right now? Could this time be like that time? And if I hear you, if what you're really saying is, well, Jake, I just want to net the most amount of money, got it. Aha, we have arrived. Because guess what? That is my goal for you too. That is my goal, is to get you where you want to go in half the time so you can make more money, provide this incredible lifestyle for yourself and for your families. And I'm 100% convinced and confident that success leaves clues, and we should all just follow the breadcrumbs. And most successful people, whether it's Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, Nolan Ryan, it doesn't matter, you name it, they all had coaches. Not because the coach necessarily knew more about that specific sport or craft better than them, but because sometimes it's about perspective and a third party who's willing to hold you accountable and have those care and candor conversations because they're looking out for you and your best interests. And because they've probably coached many other people who have gone before you, and you have that unique opportunity to learn from other people's mistakes and reduce that learning curve. So, all this to be said, get a coach. Stop coming from a scarcity mindset. Stop being a victim. Stop trying to do it all on your own. Stop trying to tell your kids one thing and you doing another. Quit telling yourself the lie that you don't need a coach. And if you don't, I would take a good hard look at your skill sets and your mindset, because until you can stand in front of a class of 200 people and teach that subject matter so they can clearly articulate it and understand it themselves, you have not yet reached mastery. And if you have not yet reached mastery in anything, you need a coach. So I'm going to leave you with that today. Thank you guys so much. This is a bit of a rant, but I love you. It's care and candor, right, all the way. Get yourself a coach, guys. Whether it's me or somebody else, get a coach. You can thank me later. Thanks. Bye.